Sign up to the SBR Network and use your free daily bet points to earn real-world prizes. Click on the page and start winning now.
Hi, welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are doing our weekly MLB call with Doug Upstone. Today is Monday, May 5th, and we are looking at the divisions in the American League. Doug, thanks for being here.
My pleasure, Peter. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing fine. All right, let's take a look at the AL Central here, right? Now, the AL Central, the interesting team, actually, Detroit and Minnesota have both been profitable. Detroit a little bit more profitable at plus 11% on the year. That's number 5 in baseball, despite the fact they have the third worst bullpen ERA in the American League, but they have a great offense, and obviously they have, Scherzer and Verlander. They've won 6 out of Verlander's starts so far, so he's been very profitable. Detroit, bad bullpen ERA isn't hurting them. Do you think they're going to continue to be a profitable team?
Oh, without a doubt. The only negative with Detroit going forward is that you're going to have to pay the price if you want to back them. I mean, we're talking about, a lot of games, especially at home, we're looking at 150 to 175 plus, and you throw in Scherzer and Verlander against, for example, weaker teams. You're looking at a lot of, minus 200 lines, money lines on these teams, but they're going to hit, and they're just starting to crank it up. The division as a whole right now has been weak. They already have a 6-game lead in their division in the loss column, and I think that's only going to grow. I think this is a team that is a very serious World Series contender. They'll get Sanchez back from his blister issues in about 10 days. So I really like this team. I like the changes that they made in their defense to improve it. They still have plenty of offense as long as they don't suffer a ton of injuries. Really like this team, Peter.
All right. Well, if they win 6 out of Verlander's next 7 starts, they'll be profitable in those games, even if they're minus 300 every game, right?
There you go. Exactly.
So you think that overall, you think in the next 2 weeks, Detroit will probably be at least a little bit profitable, even if the lines get very inflated?
Yeah, yes, I definitely think that'll be the case. I mean, they're again, that they are. I mean, to me, I look at them and Oakland right now as the 2 premier teams, in the American League, and I don't see anything that's going to stop them, especially playing, in their division.
Right, and it is true that they've been much more profitable on the road, where their lines are a little bit less inflated. They're a plus 20% ROI on the road and just plus 5% ROI at home. And then Cleveland last year was, I think they were the most profitable team in baseball. This year they're awful. They're the third worst team in baseball in terms of money standings, about minus 20% ROI, despite having a pretty good bullpen. What's your take on Cleveland? You think they'll start to improve, at least in terms of the money standings?
I would not necessarily say so, and I'll tell you why. Well, in 2012, they won 68 games. Last year, they won 92 games, and a large part of that was because they were 30-17 in one-run games. So when you see those types of huge jumps, there's almost always regression. And since 1960, in terms of that regression, if a team improves by more than 15 games, they come back 10. On average. So I definitely think the Indians are going to regress. I think they're going to be closer to a 500 team. Some of the things offensively that went their ways, they lost some different players that are no longer the team. The pitching looks a little shaky. Bullpen, not really sure where it's going to go there. And, they're just having a hard time, especially with left-handed pitching so far. They're 3-7 and only averaging 3.5 runs a game against left-handed pitching. That's really a troublesome sign because teams are going to load up against them with lefties.
What about Minnesota? They've been plus 11%. They've been a profitable team overall on the year. They've been the 6th best team to bet on in baseball. My sense is that that's probably not going to continue. We might see them become a bad bet in the near future. What's your take on Minnesota?
I would have to agree, but it will be fun to watch Minnesota play, and I believe they're 20-8 on the over so far this season. Yeah. So their offense has been top 4 all season long. So that's been tremendous. You look at that lineup. I can't really say how I know they're doing because there's a lot of no names in that lineup. But they're getting it done. But if you look at their starting pitching, they have the worst starting pitching ERA in baseball. Yeah. And I don't think, it'll improve from the number that it is because it's been around 6. So a lot of runs, a lot of overs, but Minnesota, some good spots, and some underdog plays, especially when that they're facing number 4 or 5 starters from the opposition.
Okay. And then what's your take on the White Sox? The White Sox starting lineup has actually been quite productive. Their bullpen has been pretty crappy, and that has added up to they've actually been a slightly profitable bet on the year and a solid over trender at over 60%, both at home and overall. Do you think that continues, or do you think that the White Sox good offensive numbers are a little bit of a mirage?
No, I think their numbers, I think their offensive numbers are good, and I think they'll continue to hit, especially playing in that ballpark, because, once it heats up in the summertime, the prevailing winds at Sox Park are, from the southwest. And so I think, they'll continue to score runs in a small ballpark. But as you mentioned, that pitching, wow.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of options for them to turn to, both starting pitching and with relief pitching. So I think the real take on the White Sox is if they're playing against weaker starters, is that I think there's some opportunity on some first 5-inning bets with them. But to play the White Sox on a consistent basis for games, you're going to have some games that you would never have thought you should have won, and you're also going to have some games you're not going to believe you're going to lose with that bullpen.
Okay, so like Toronto, we might want to take the run lines in their games, take advantage of that volatility. All right, so what are our forecasts here? Continued value betting against Cleveland, continued value betting on Detroit, and continued value betting on White Sox overs?
That's correct.
All right, now let's move on to the AL West.